The convoy halts without warning. There is no blast, no smoke, no visible obstruction. That is what makes it worse. The engines continue to idle, a low mechanical hum vibrating through the metal frame. Heat rises off the hood in waves, distorting the horizon. Your hand rests on your rifle, steady but not yet raised. No one speaks. The silence is structured, trained into you. Something is wrong, not because of what you see, but because of what you don't. Your wrist display flickers, 41 degrees Celsius. Too hot for stillness, too quiet for safety. You wait for an order that doesn't come. You didn't start here. You started at the bottom, without identity, without distinction. You were processed like equipment. The facility was cold, fixed at 19 degrees Celsius, designed to keep you alert but never comfortable. Concrete floors, steel bunks, fluorescent lights that never dimmed. You arrived with others, but there were no introductions. Just paperwork. Contracts filled with clauses, liabilities, and compensation figures that seemed high until you understood the cost attached. Within 3 hours, you were issued a uniform, assigned a weapon, and stripped of anything personal. You were not there to belong. You were there to function. Training was efficient, almost clinical. No shouting, no dramatics. Instructions were delivered in a flat tone, like maintenance procedures. You learned quickly because failure did not involve correction. It involved removal. People disappeared from the roster without explanation. No one asked where they went. You understood early that survival meant adaptation, not resistance. You absorbed routines, memorized protocols, and reduced your reactions to controlled responses. Your first deployment lasted 63 days. You were told clearly, you do not protect people. You protect movement, cargo, timelines, assets. Human presence is incidental. Convoys departed at 4:30, always before sunrise. The routine became mechanical. Check vehicle integrity. Confirm communication channels. Verify route coordinates. Repeat. You sat in the rear vehicle most of the time, observing, recording, speaking only when necessary. The pay arrived every 14 days, precise and consistent. Numbers increased in your account while something less measurable began to fade. You didn't notice it immediately, only later in absence. Advancement came without ceremony. After 11 months, your role shifted. You were given oversight, not authority. You tracked fuel usage, ammunition logs, personnel efficiency. People became data points, patterns to analyze rather than individuals to understand. Reports were submitted every 72 hours. No one responded directly, but changes followed. Reassignments, removals, replacements. The system didn't require acknowledgement. It operated on input and adjustment. You became part of that input. There were rules, but most of them were never written. You learned them by watching, by surviving. Never question the client's objective. Delays are more dangerous than mistakes. Documentation protects the company, not you. Adapt quietly. They called it creative compliance. You followed orders, but you interpreted them just enough to remain functional. If a route became unstable, you adjusted without reporting unless necessary. If engagement occurred, you minimized visibility, not impact. Everything was calibrated for continuity, not morality. Time passed without clear markers. You measured your life in contracts, 6 months, 9 months, 1-year extensions. Personal connections weakened gradually. Calls became shorter, less frequent. There was nothing you could explain to people outside the system. Eventually, you stopped trying. You noticed the changes in yourself in small, controlled ways. Loud noises no longer triggered reactions. Decisions that once required thought became immediate. Sleep reduced to cycles of efficiency. Isolation stopped feeling unnatural. It became necessary. The convoy is still stopped. 6 vehicles. 18 personnel. No movement. The radio remains silent until it doesn't. The message arrives late, fragmented. The client has updated the objective mid-operation. New instructions override the original plan. You are to proceed through an unverified zone and maintain the schedule. No deviation. You look ahead. The route passes through civilian structures. Movement is visible. This was not part of the plan, but the objective remains unchanged. You calculate the variables. Proceeding increases risk beyond the convoy. Delaying violates contract terms. The clauses are clear. Failure to maintain the timeline results in penalties. Operational discretion applies only when assets are directly threatened. Civilians are not classified as assets. You understand the framework. It is not ambiguous. It is precise. You give the order. There is no hesitation in your voice. The convoy moves. Engines rise. Tires grind forward. Formation maintained. You pass through the zone without stopping. You do not look directly at the people. Your focus remains on spacing, timing, alignment. No incidents occur. The operation remains clean. On record, everything is within acceptable parameters. The shift doesn't happen immediately. It comes later in quiet moments, when reports are filed, when payments arrive, when the next contract is offered without question. You begin to understand that the system does not force you to break rules. It teaches you to adjust them internally so that externally, nothing appears broken. Compliance becomes flexible, but only in ways that preserve the structure. Years pass. Your role evolves again. Less fieldwork, more control. You operate from secured environments now, temperature regulated at 20 degrees Celsius, surrounded by screens instead of terrain. You oversee operations, approve decisions, sign off on outcomes that mirror the one you made. Repeated, standardized, scaled. The weight of those decisions doesn't disappear. It distributes itself across reports, across teams, across time. The realization arrives without warning. Not during a mission, but in stillness. You review a report. Every metric aligns. Objectives achieved. No deviations. Perfect execution. And you understand what that means. Perfection in this system is not success. It is the absence of resistance. Not from the environment. Not from the variables. Not even from you. Your exit is procedural. Your contract is not renewed. No explanation is required. A replacement is already prepared. You transfer access, surrender credentials. Within minutes, your presence is removed from active systems. Data archived. Your role reassigned. You leave the same way you entered, processed, efficient, unremarkable. Outside, the air feels different, not because it is cleaner, but because it lacks structure. There is no objective attached to it. No defined function. You check your phone. Messages feel distant, disconnected from anything you understand now. You attempt to respond, but the words do not align with the life you've been operating in. Time passes, weeks, then months. The system continues without interruption. You know this because nothing changes. Contracts are signed. Convoys move. Reports are filed. Someone else occupies your position, follows the same structure, makes the same calculations. The system remains intact. You understand it completely now. It was never built to depend on you. It was built to absorb you, use you, and continue seamlessly when you are gone. Somewhere, another convoy halts without warning. No explosion, no visible threat, just silence. And someone inside it is beginning to understand what that silence